of points. I'm an economist, and I heard no mention of Keynes. And I'm a little bit surprised because Keynes, and quite simply, there has to be someone lapping up savings at a given time and spending it. I just would like your comment on that point. Second point is my specialty in economics of consumerism. The lack of savings is often regretted by those who do not save, what I call preference pollution in my work. So people wish they had desires to save up. Any comment you might have on that? And you may claim, I'll just say quickly, that that's a leftover from a puritanical vision or what have you, but I'd like to.
I'd love to say that, but I'm going to resist the impulse. I think Keynes is absolutely central here, and I think you're absolutely right. But my hero, the Keynes that is my hero, is the guy who wrote the treatise on money. Because if you look at volume 2, I mean, as you know, that thing is all over the place. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's writing it between 1928, 1929, 30. Comes out in 1930. But if you look carefully at the empirical stuff in volume 2, late in the book, pages 190 to 94, you will find that what he's saying is that something bizarre and absolutely novel has happened in the United States of America. There has been extraordinary growth, but it has nothing to do with the profit levels of the moment. These profits have been piling up, but what has happened is that technical innovation has become so extraordinary that all it takes is the use of depreciation funds of companies to improve the productivity and the output of their capital stock. Now, that, it seems to me, is the pivot on which he begins to rethink the meaning of saving and the meaning of investment. He's already, in 1930, with the Treatise on Money, Volume 2 anyway, saying we can have growth. Look at the United States. This extraordinary growth in the 1920s didn't require investment. That's the key, I think. Now, you can say, you know, the general theory is another matter. That's where he's speaking to economists. The Treatise on Money, he's talking to himself. He's trying to explain a whole lot of things to himself. Right, anyway.
You want to say anything about Keynes? Yeah, I do too. And we both talk about it in our books. But, I mean, in my book, I talk about Keynes, and then I talk about American Keynesianism. And I think that there has been a much more optimistic spin put on Keynes historically in this country and to the present by Americans, partly because we have a more vibrant, optimistic economy, but partly because of certain thinking that developed in World War II on the part of various American economists associated with the New Deal. And now the original Keynes, and of course we can differ about it. I mean, it's like the original Marx. I mean, you know, we can do a lot of textual analysis here on which page we find things. But Keynes, you know, at least as I understand him, is talking about counter-cyclical policies. So, of course, he's doing, you know, a lot of pivotal work at the height of the Depression, and the counter-cyclical is obviously he wants government stimulation of the economy so that workers will go back to work, so that they will have money to spend, and that consumption eventually will take us out of it. It's counter-cyclical policy. In my book, I talk about Keynes at the height of World War II as well. In 1940 and 41, when Britain is at war, he actually calls for compulsory savings plans that are more radical than even the thrift nuts at the time are talking about. He wants basically government-directed compulsory saving based on income, because, again, he sees the economy as overheating in wartime, the specter of World War I style inflation, and he wants to restrain that by this active government-directed economizing at the household level. So he is a counter-cyclical man, but the American Keynesians, many of them, not all of them, but a lot of them in wartime and right after the war, you know, got this idea that there could be this sort of solid state, constant stoking of consumption for high economic growth, not only in busts, but in booms. you know, at the time that there might be inflationary pressures, you still keep stoking consumption. In a sense, we still have that formulation, even among people who would not claim to be Keynesians now. So, I mean, everybody wants the Christmas shopping system to save our economy. Republicans want it, Democrats want it. So we're kind of locked into that formulation that I think comes from this historical, optimistic American Keynesianism. I mean, we could go on and talk about the paradox of thrift. I don't know if you want to do that. But I think there's a lot of American misunderstanding about Keynes, and most of the rest of the world does not accept Keynes in terms of constant stimulation the way we do, which is part of the problem we're having with Europeans now.
Right.